Hello pianists, you just heard a fun beginner arrangement of Jingle Bells. This is arranged by Faber Adult Piano Adventures from their Christmas book Level 1. You can learn this along with me on pages 12 to 13. A little history in Jingle Bells before we play it together. It was actually originally written in 1857 for a children's choir concert at Thanksgiving time. It was so well received that the community asked for it to be sung again at Christmas time, and it's been a Christmas staple ever since. James Pierpont is the composer, and he was remembering his time in the woods with sleigh rides and even sleigh races. It originally was published under the title The One-Horse Open Sleigh. The song was so well received that we now love it. If you're a beginner pianist, you could learn this in about 1 to 2 weeks. The most challenging aspects are really the articulation. It features a variety of slurlings in the verse, which requires that you add little breaths and lift your hands afterwards, has fun staccatos in the popular chorus. Learn some hand independence while the right hand has to stay sustained, while that left hand stays staccato, and it has 2 accents in it at the words oh and at the end after sleigh. So a couple little articulations you can work on. So stay tuned as we'll go through a very systematic approach to learn it using my Bronson Musical Learning Pyramid. I'll show you how to very carefully count the rhythms, which notes to play. We'll go through in a slow note reading progression, thinking the intervals, where the moves are within the fingerings. I'll show you how to play those 3 different articulations, how to voice the melody louder in the chorus, and how to add beautiful, lively dynamics. You can learn this in stages and come back and learn those different parts of the musical learning pyramid. All right, pianists, let's jump in. Let's start with the most important category of our learning, the rhythm. We look at our time signature to start. We're in a common time of 4/4, meaning that there's 4 quarter notes in each measure. We're going to go through first and just isolate the most challenging rhythmic aspects. It's easy with the quarter notes and the half notes and a couple whole notes, but we look at measure 2 and there's 2 eighth notes. If you've never counted these before, we add a 4 and. So I'm going to start at measure 1 to 2. I'm going to slowly play and count. So you can tap along with me and even count as well. Here it is. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So you can go through the rest of the way with that kind of counting. So be careful the long notes, you actually sustain them, they're full 4 beats, or if you have a dotted half note at measure 2, a full 3 beats. Let's look at some other rhythms. Looking at measure 19 is probably the most complicated rhythm of the whole piece, but it's a great way to learn it because you know the Jingle Bell melody so well. Looking at measure 19, I'm going to first count it, then I'll explain it more. Here it is. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to actually turn on the metronome at an eighth note at 184 so that you can hear that there'll be 2 eighth note ticks within a quarter note and there'll be 3 eighth note ticks within the dotted quarter note. Remember, dots add half the value to the quarter note. So a quarter note would get 1 beat and then another half of an eighth note after that. Here's the metronome at 184, measure 19. This is the eighth note. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2. I would encourage you just to go through and isolate all of those spots that have eighth notes and the dotted quarter note eighth note before you go and try to tap it. Then you can use my performance demo to practice tapping along. Remember, it's important to gain rhythmic accuracy before you go on to the note reading, articulations, and dynamics. If it's not stable rhythmically, the rest of the details just really won't work. I would suggest you practice at a quarter note equals 100 for practice time and a performance tempo at a quarter at 192. All right, once you've gained some accuracy on the rhythm, we're going to move into the note reading and fingering category. We're first going to start with our left hand. Left hand starts on a G number 3, which is the G just a fourth below middle C. Let's get our left hand comfortable first, then I'll teach you the right hand. Starts on G, measure 2 repeats a G, eighth notes 2, 3, and then up a step, measure 4, A, 2, 3, repeat the A, 2, 3, up to B, all steps, and then it repeats that pattern back at measure 9 at a G. It stays there, just those 3 notes for the whole verse. And then for measure 17, there's one left-hand move. It goes down to a bass C, which is C3, and I see a space, skips over a space to another space, which is a perfect fifth. You can first just tap those or play those in a reduced manner. There's 4 fifths in a row. Measure 20 has another fifth, and then you can play those as a melodic interval, fifths. There's measure 17 to 18, 20 does the same thing. We're going to jump ahead to measure 24 is a second with 1 and 2, 2, 3, back to a fifth at 25, 26, then you rest for 4 beats, 2, 3, fifth. We're going to jump ahead to 31, that second comes back on beats 3, 4, and then a third, and then one chord, a C major chord, and we'll talk about those articulations later. That's it for the left hand. It starts here on a G and goes down to the bass C. So practice that left hand first, and then we'll go into the right hand. Right hand's turn. It starts on an E4, which is the E just directly above middle C, up by a third. I would scan through and look for some patterns. The verse has lots of seconds. Line, space, line. Uses a couple thirds in there, we'll point out. If we look at the chorus, it uses thirds and a couple fifths. I'm actually going to put this hands together for the verse since the left hand to right hand share that melody. Then when I get to the refrain, I'll just play the right hand by itself. Back to the top. We're going to go slow. I'm going to name the intervals, and you can practice tapping and naming intervals with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, up to E, seconds, down to G, 2, 3. Same pattern. Left hand, A, 2, 3, 4, up to 4, seconds, 2, 3, 4, G, same, third to a third, 2, 3, repeats itself, seconds, down to G, 2, 3, 4, back up to E, A, 2, 3, 4. Let me pause here. If you were watching my hands carefully, there was a move at measure 13, and you pretty much have just a rest to move it there if you're looking ahead. So starting back at measure 11, I'm going to show you that again. 1, 2, 3, move early to this. Up a fourth, up a second, 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 third, 2 over, 5, back to that C. So I would definitely isolate 13 through 17. It has the most movements in the entire piece in the right hand. By isolating, meaning go back, play it like 3 to 5 times accurately in a row so you can remember it when you come back the next day for your practice. Now we're into the refrain. I'm going to play just the right hand by itself, and we're in a middle C position, and it plays a third. 1, 2, 3, 4 thirds. Repeat. Hold. Up a third. Fifth. Seconds. 2, 3, up to F. Repeat these notes. Down a second. Up a fourth, back to the thirds, up a third, fifth, seconds, 2, 3, 4, up to F, down a second, up a third, second, third, second. I would even suggest that you could even color code this. You could highlight all of the thirds, do a different color for the fourths, and all those fifths. That way you're thinking ahead. But interval reading is really a little faster than the note reading because note reading takes some more time to develop that automaticity. Next up, we're going to talk about how to put that left hand and right hand together. The verse is pretty easy because it plays at separate times. In the refrain or the chorus, they're playing at the same time. I would suggest you play the right hand and you just tap the left hand since we have to sustain that right hand on half notes and the left hand keeps playing. So here is right hand played, left hand tap at 17. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3. So you could go through and tap that to get that comfortable, and then you'll be able to play it slowly on the keys. Take your time, just isolate measure 17 to 18. Then I would go through and make sure you can play all of the notes accurately and steady. You might have to slow it down. Use your metronome for practice. You can tap your foot. Get that nice and stable before you go on to the articulations and dynamics with me. All right, pianist, if you're coming back after getting notes and rhythm stable, we'll go into the articulations. There are 3 in this entire piece. There's slurs, which are like the singing of the piece. There are the staccatos, which is like the jingling of the bells. And then there's the accents for the excited O's and talking about the sleigh at the end of this piece. We'll talk about those techniques to get that comfortable. We'll start back at the beginning and listen very slowly that the left hand sustains until the right hand plays. And that's when that left hand lifts. Connect it. When a slur ends, lift the fingers. Smooth. 1, 2, 3, lift. Go very slow so you can hear that smooth slur is happening. Even sing along, so you'll encourage your fingers to stay smooth, just like your voice can. Before we get into the staccatos and accents, I'm going to do just a short little pour demo so you can hear what it sounds like when they're lacking. I'm going to start at measure 9 through a little bit of the chorus so you can hear what it sounds like when they're not there. Here's 9. That's not very spirited at all. I was ignoring the slurs, I was not crisp at all in the staccatos, the accents did not come out. Let me play that little segment again, and I'm going to add them back in. If you would like to play with that kind of style, let's go back in and add it in. We're going to jump ahead to measure 13, where we go out of the slurs into staccatos. Think when you have those staccatos, the keys are hot and you release very quickly. 13, 1, 2, 3, 4, smooth, short, up, 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 smooth, in, short, heavy, down, up, up, smooth, and then short, smooth, short, smooth, back to short. Listen that right hand does stay sustained on bells while the left hand comes up. Measure 25 again. Smooth, smooth, up, down, up, 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 down, up, up, down, and then quick down into the keys. If you want a little more splash, you can add the pedal with that, just down and up with the hands. All right, pianists, let's get into the dynamics. This is a piece to be sung, so there should be that rise and fall of the melody. So in the verse, that's pretty much how you get your phrase goals. The arrows means the loudest point of the little phrase. So as it goes higher, louder, let it fall. Highest pitch, loudest, bring it down. And notice I put some dynamics in there so you know how loud to get each time. So I pasted out from medium piano, mezzo forte, and all the way to forte. And then even those accents could be more of a fortissimo type of touch. Into the refrain, this has two hands playing at the same time for this hand independence. You have to think, what would I sing along with? It'd be the right hand. So I don't want my left hand to be equally loud. Here would be equally loud, a pour way. To get that voice, and we want to hear. How do you get that? Silent play the left hand. So you can play the left hand, just tap on top of the keys. See if you can do that while the right hand plays. Once you can do that, a little sound can come out. That way the singers always come out louder than the left hand. And then in the refrain, for some dynamic shaping, I would refer to 4-bar shaping. What that means is the music kind of exists in 4 measure groupings, and the third measure will be the loudest. So I've put phrase goals over that to help you. Here's 17. We're growing. Here's the goal. Bring it away. Sneak in. We're growing. Phrase goal. Another 1. Bring it back. Growing. Goal. Sneak in. Growing. Then we put little phrase goals at the end. All right, pianist, if you've worked through all of those different categories of the musical learning pyramid, you've really arrived at the style of this piece of spirited and fun. A couple reminders. Take your time on the rhythm. Make sure it's rhythmically stable. Use your metronome, tap your foot. count along. You can use my performance demonstration to practice tapping the different hands. Be careful on the note reading of it. You can go through and label those different G3s and E4s that I gave you today. A couple of hand position shifts in the right hand from 13 through 17. Left hand has one move at measure 17. Spend some time on the articulations. Get those staccatos nice and short like the bells, smooth slurs like the singing, and those louder arm weight down into the accents. Dynamics, sing along with it. Rise and fall of the melody to get your phrase goals. Get the right hand voiced louder. Have fun learning this. Be patient. Take your time. Come back to this video. You can watch at different stages to listen and check, am I playing it like this? Is there something I can make better? You can even record yourself to check back how you're sounding. Enjoy playing this piece for your family and friends at Christmas time.